Om Tat Sat to all of you. Do you know which chapter we are doing?
14.
14. Chapter 14.
Are you sure?
Yes. Yes, Maharaj.
Okay. For the few students who are really sure. Righto. So, I think we covered the beginning portion of our. So we discussed about the three modes of material nature. If you remember. Do you remember that?
Yes, Maharaj.
Hello?
See.
Yeah. Three modes of material nature. Krishna has explained how millennials came into this world, and he is the Ahija Pradapita. He is a seed-giving father. Okay? And then he explains a little further. He explains that this Prakriti, material nature, is functioning with three modes. And the living entity, when he comes in touch with this material nature, Krishna is saying, I impregnate material nature. I impregnate material nature. And as soon as the material nature touches the spirit soul, or the spirit soul touches the material nature, then Krishna is explaining Sattvam Rajas Tamayiti Guna Prakriti Sambhavaha Nibadnanti Mahabaho Dehe Dehinam Avyayam. He's saying immediately it comes under the control of the three modes of material nature. Sattvam Rajas Tamayiti Guna Prakriti Sambhava Nibadnanti Mahabaho. Nibadnanti means they become completely conditioned under the control. And so these are the three modes. And this is how the spirit soul is conditioned. Conditioned means quite a heavy thing. Conditioning means you don't remember your original identity. You fall into another identity, which is forced upon you according to your karma and according to the gunas operating according to that karma again. Okay? So, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. And then Krishna goes ahead to explain Tatra Sattvam Nirmalatvat Prakashakam Manamayam Sukha Sankhena Bhadnati Jnana Sankhena Chanaka. He starts explaining the qualities of Sattvika Guna. Tatra Sattvam Nirmalatvat, it is pure. Prakashakam, it's illuminating. Anamayam, it is without any ignorance. Sukha Sankhena Bhadnati. But the problem with this Sattva Guna is that there is a sense of happiness that comes in it. And that sense of happiness completely binds you. Because of that, the living entity is lulled, is sort of brought into a sense of false happiness. And in that sense of false happiness, he doesn't aspire for any more things in spiritual life. He thinks everything is fine. So now, if you look at the Brahmana class, they are the ones who have a lot of this opportunity of being in Sattvika Guna. The Brahmanas are those who are illuminated, they are very well educated, they are very cultured, they know what to do and what not to do, and everything is good for them. So they just settle down. They don't go beyond that. Everything is first class, high class for them. And they don't take part in all this Rajogun, Tamogun type of stuff. And they're naturally inclined to be in Satvika Guna. They'll get up early in the morning, they will chant their prayers, they'll take a bath, they'll chant their prayers, they'll do yoga, they will read scripture, and they will, be austere, and they'll move around with all these scholarly people, jnani people. They don't take part in other types of things, but they will actually spend a lot of time for welfare of the people. They will advise the Kshatriyas. They will be available for the Vaishyas. They will be available for the Shudras. They will run the community with knowledge. They'll give advice, counsel, teach the Sachra, Yajana, Yajana, Patana, Patana, Dana, Parigraha. They will teach how to worship, and they will worship, how to study the Vedic literature, and they will study. They will give in charity, they will accept charity. In this way, they'll be very nicely situated on the top brass of the society. And everybody wants them. They want them to come and please give association, please teach us how to do this, please what to do and what not to do, like that. They're great consultants. So that is there. But the problem is, in that situation, they don't go further. They don't go towards love of Godhead. They don't go towards further stepping up. So that becomes a little difficulty. We will keep that aside. We will meet a lot more about these gunas as we are moving ahead. Then Rajoguna, right? Rajo Ragatmakam Viddhi Trishna Sangha Samudbhavam. That is Rajoguna, passion. Trishna Sangha Samudbhavam, unlimited desires and longings. And that is characterized by a lot of activity, very busy with a lot of things to do. But physically busy, mentally busy, intellectually busy, and moving things up, creating things. This is all.
Eigene Arbeit, durch eigenen Fleiß, eigene Entschlossenheit, eigenen Trotz, eigene Beharrlichkeit, dann werden wir wieder den Vorstein, genau wie die Väter einst auch Deutschland nicht das Geld dahinten, sondern selbst schaffen mussten.
That is a passionate story of Hitler. How Hitler, he killed so many, 6 million Jews or something he killed in concentration camps. And so passionate, full of activity, unlimited desire to conquer the whole world, leading a whole nation of people. So this is an example of passionate guna. But many people in this world will think Hitler is very great, he's wonderful. I like to be like that. A lot of this world is run by Rajoguna and Tamoguna. Rajoguna characteristics, you're completely bound up by fruitive activity. If you get a fruit, only you will do it. And you're seeking those fruits from whatever you do. Sometimes when you see people are too much business-like, too much wanting something for themselves, we say that this guy is a little fruitive. He is not, having that humane feeling. He is not willing to do some charity. He is not willing to do something good for some people, spend some time with somebody or something. Too much in Rajogun, very fruitive. What will I get out of it is something that he thinks all the time. Sometimes in relationships within the family also he's doing that. And it ends in quarrel, it ends in court case, it will end in fighting, it will end in, all sorts of crazy things can happen. It's because of Rajogun. When Rajogun is there, we are thinking of material profits. We are thinking of gains in terms of fruit or what I will get. Sometimes people are willing to damage your whole relationships because of desire for profit. They don't even know that these things are happening to them. because they don't know the science as it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. Many times, if we examine our activity deeply, what is of value to you and what is it that you fight for in your life? What is it that you stand up for in your life? You will be surprised to know that many of those ideals are very Rajogunish, passionate ideas. They may be very Tamogunish ideas. Rarely do we have some Sattvika Guna ideas. Sattvika Guna ideas are ideas that do good to people, and you're willing to push that, you're willing to work for that. Even in a village, you'll find sometimes there is somebody who is one man who does some great things for everybody. He loves people and he goes out of his way and does good things. These are Sattvika Guna qualities. I just, during our Gita-thon event that we did, I met with one nice, simple village man who had planted 1.5 lakh trees in his lifetime, all by himself. Every day he does it. And he says, I love to do this because they grow up and they have, big foliage and they give shade to people. And it tree does so many things, and not to what to speak about climate change contribution and all that. So he is on his own being doing it. He doesn't care about anybody saying it. Because according to my understanding, my grandfather told me, and we should plant trees. And that ideal and that value I want to keep up because I believe in it. And I know that it's trees that protect us. So he has been planting trees. He just likes to plant trees, and some of them have grown up so much. He has seen it from his younger age. And now they are actually, so in his lifetime, he's seeing that trees are planted, they do good to people, and people stand under it, they take shade, they take fruits, they take flowers. And in this way, I'm contributing to society. He's not asking for any special admission or any special certification or anything. It is the people who want to give it to him. Right? So in this way, you'll see there are people who want to do good for society. They are in Sattvika Guna in some way. But a lot of these people nowadays will say, okay, what is the use of planting trees? What am I getting out of it? The trees will go up and it'll, maybe in another 30 years, they'll give some wood. I will not be living to sell it and make money. So I'm not interested in it. You see the difference between a person who is sattvic and who is rajasic, what he will think in his mind. So what to speak of, people who are rajasic, they are the ones that are praised a lot in this world. They are the ones who are achievers. They are the ones who are known to be Kshatriyas in governance. They are the ones who like name, fame, glory. They like to be known as something like this, and they need that encouragement to move ahead and do things. So these are all qualities of a Rajasika Guna. Then there is Tamasika Guna, which you see on the screen. It is characterized by intoxication, tendency to continue to sleep all the time, driven to madness. Pramadalasya. Pramadalasya means, pramada means madness. Alasya means laziness, indolence, which is similar to sleep. Then interested in intoxicating oneself. They'll drink, they'll take drugs, they'll smoke ganja, they'll smoke cigarettes, they'll keep drinking chai, coffee, they'll do all of these type of things to keep them in that tamasic mode. Right? So they're addicted and they can commit suicide by themselves. These are all very dangerous things to do with Tamoguna. Is the lowest of the gunas. Okay, I'm just giving a general overview of these gunas. Prabhupada speaks wonderful things about the competition between the gunas, which is very interesting to note. Sometimes it is Rajoguna that comes. It's like a big circle moving like this, and big portions of it come, quarter portion, 75%, 50%, like this it occupies. 3 gunas. So you can imagine that sometimes Satoguna takes over, sometimes Rajoguna takes over, sometimes Tamoguna takes over, like that. So these are natural, and in this world you will see almost everybody is affected by it. Krishna is telling there is not one person in the whole material creation who is not affected by the gunas. All the demigods, all of them, everybody is affected by the gunas. That's the meaning of materialistic life. That's the meaning of materialistic life. So, addiction, intoxication, sleep, suicidal tendency to actually commit suicide. All these things are part of tamoguna. If somebody commits suicide, he must have been in very high class tamoguna to actually do that. You know, so these are tendencies that we see in human society. All these gunas, broad classification, all of us are driven by these gunas. And because of these gunas driving us mad, we tend to commit these type of activities. That's why Krishna is saying that there is nobody in this world who can escape gunas. Anybody who's inside this world is afflicted by the gunas. He is completely under the control of these gunas. So it is not something new to you. And I know that all of us at some point of time have experienced these gunas. And we are experiencing even now. It's not to think that your personality is actually a sum total of these effect of these gunas. And that's why human society automatically, since everybody is affected, is the gunas and the varnashrama derived from it. You will see the Brahmana predominantly in Sattva-guna, Kshatriya predominantly in passion, the Vaishya is in a mix of passion and ignorance, and Shudra is ignorance alone. Vaishya means all these businessmen. There will be a lot in passion and ignorance. So, hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay. Yeah. So, this is the human society is built according to this. Prabhupada says that in Bhagavad Gita, you have to recognize that if you take a body of a human being, you will actually see that the head represents the Brahmanas, the hands represent the Kshatriyas, the torso and the stomach represent the Vaishyas, and the legs represent the Shudras, Prabhupada told us. And Prabhupada said that when the head is actually not operating properly, then every other portion of the body is affected. If the leg is not operating properly, you can always use a wheelchair and still move around. If the hands are not operating properly, you can take somebody else's help and still move around. I remember when my hand was fractured once and I had to travel, and I had a sling in my hand, and also had a problem with my toe in my leg. I remember I was traveling then, and then I remember I went to the doc told me another time. This was when I had my leg fractured in the knee. So my doc said, you don't move around for 21 days. I sat around for 21 days, and I found it extremely difficult to hang around inside and not do anything. I'm normally a little active person. So I went to Australia actually on the with my cast on this thing. I thought, let's go and preach there. And I remember in the flight, they actually lifted me on a winch and took me inside the flight up to the gate of the flight. And I thought, wow, it's good. You get special attention. Maybe next time also I should come with a cast on my feet. You get really good help and this thing. So in the feet, if you got any problem, you can still go around. Like I went up to Australia and came back. You can do many things, but if something goes wrong with the head, the whole body is finished. So if the Brahmanas fall down, the Brahmanas don't do their job properly, everything is spoiled in this world. Right? Everything is spoiled. So in the human society, you see that Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras, right? The Brahmanas and Kshatriyas are very important, and out of both of them, the Brahmanas are most important. Prabhupada explained this to us and told us that human society is guna karma vibhagasha. According to guna and karma, it is segregated and categorized. Okay.
You have a deal?
So if you look at life as such, you will see that in the material world, the illusory aspect of the material world is very interesting for us. We are all addicted to the illusion. We like it very much. We like it very much. And that is why, even though the reality is explained to you, you say, yes, 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 I know. But we see, continue to go ahead with the illusion. Actually, illusion is very attractive in this material world. Illusion is something we seek, we want to be with. And that's a fact. That's a fact. Even the best of people in this world, although they have been educated, Kaviyo Yatri Mohitaha. Krishna is saying even the most learned people get bewildered. Most learned people get bewildered. See? So, there is a story of how Vyasadeva was compiling the Puranas. And then he writes shloka that even the rishis and munis and sages will get bewildered by the form of a woman. And then the most educated person gets bewildered. So, mentioned there that Vyasadeva was dictating this, and his disciple, one great rishi and sage, again, the name starts with what is his name?
Maharaj, when the head is affected, the entire thing is getting affected. That is when Brahmanas go wrong.
Oh, after that, you're not heard. I've been speaking for a long time. Okay. Right. So you see on the screen that we act under the pushing of the modes of nature. In psychology, they'll tell you there is a stimulus, something that pushes you, and then you will act according to that as a response. But actually, from Bhagavad Gita, you can understand is the modes that are pushing you through the mind. That is really stimulus. To act in a particular way, to be lusty, to be greedy, to be envious, to be possessive, all these things are happening. And you are responding to it by using your mind, intelligence, false ego, and body, and acting. You act. So what we should actually understand is that whatever the psychologists are also telling is that for every stimulus, we react. We react. But if you want to be free from that reaction, if you're educated as per Bhagavad Gita that the modes only are acting and making you act, then between the stimulus and the response, you have a freedom to choose. That is called free will. At that point, if you exercise your free will, it's very difficult to do because we all act just like that, like a machine. Stimulus, response like that. That's the meaning of conditioning. That's the meaning of conditioning. That you quickly act, immediately you act, and you think it's perfectly normal. And that's the way I am, you tell them. That's the way I am, that's what you'll get from me. They just say that and they just go ahead with life. So you are inside the control box of material nature under the three modes. Actually, you're not free. Real freedom means a person teaches himself how to depend on Krishna, how to get the intelligence required to act between the stimulus and response, and seek your freedom. So sometimes we are stimulated by the modes, but since we are chanting Hare Krishna and remaining in Sattvika Guna, you will see that you are able to tell yourself, no, don't do that. It's going to act against my Krishna consciousness. I'm not going to do it. Sometimes you're spiritually weak and then you allow yourself to do that. It's like you become spiritually weak. We are all like sadhana siddha. It's based on a sadhana. If you don't chant Hare Krishna properly for a day, if you don't read Bhagavad Gita, if you don't associate, if you don't do some seva, it's quite possible that we will come under the modes of material nature without intelligence and without any restraint or any control. We'll just be swept off by the modes. Most people in this world are swept off by the modes and act according to the modes. That is a fact. But those people who have a spiritual practice, who chant Hare Krishna, who worship the deity, who read the Bhagavatam, who read the Bhagavad Gita, who mix with devotees and engage in service, and you see, they will know all the time what to do, what not to do. Although their horoscope will tell you that they should be under great tamoguna, they may not be. They may not be. Right? This is why Prabhupada told an astrologer who was very, very famous, who came to him and said, I want to see your hand. I'll tell you some things. Prabhupada said, what did you see in my hand? He said, you can see my disciples' hands. They were all doing kirtan. Then I said, even my disciples' hand, as they clap their hands and chant Hare Krishna, the lines will change every time. He said, what will you do? He said, what will you do? He was trying to tell the astrologer that you have no scope here. My disciples are all listening to my instructions. The modes don't affect them. They are completely serving. He was trying to tell them that, right? So what is this modes? How does it act? It's explained in great detail by Krishna. I will stop here and I'll take some questions from you. If you read the Bhagavad Gita further, you will see that the modes, three modes of material nature, Prakriti, Maya Devi, is known to be Durga. And she does the job of maintaining the conditioned souls in the prison house. That's why it's called Durga. Durga means fort. She puts this material, this thing inside, and there's a fort like this. Every time we are subjected to the modes, we act according to the dictation of the modes to the mind, and from the mind onwards, the whole body acts. It's very powerful. Don't underestimate it. It's not something that you can go and tweak it and make adjustments. Extremely powerful. Mama Maya Duratyaya Mameveye Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite. Krishna is telling that in Bhagavad Gita. So that is why we remain very cautious. We remain very much under Krishna's instructions as much as possible and follow those instructions of Krishna to the best of our extent. So if you read the Bhagavad Gita, you will see further Krishna is explaining nicely. After he has explained about the three modes, and he goes to explain further. After he explained the qualities of the three modes, he will say in Shloka 9, Sattvam Shuke Sanjayati Rajah Karmani Bharata Jnanam Avrityatu Tamaha Pramade Sanjayatyuta. O son of Bharata, the modes of goodness condition ones to happiness, passion conditions one to fruitive action, and ignorance covering one's knowledge binds one to badness. Rajastamascha vibhuya sattvam bhavati bharata Rajaha Sattvam, Tamaschaiva, Tamas Sattvam, Rajastata. It's very interesting. He said there's a competition between the modes. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance. O son of Bharata. Sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance. And the other times, ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy. There's competition between the modes. Isn't that very interesting? Can you read the purport for that, Devika Sumukhi? Are you able to read the purport for that?
Maharaj, right now I don't have Bhagavad Gita.
Oh, okay. Fine. Are you in the hospital or something? You look like you're in the hospital.
No, Maharaj.
Okay. Fine.
Maharaj.
For a moment, I thought you're lying on a bed.
No, Maharaj. By God's grace, I'm fine.
Okay. Sorry. May you always have God's grace and remain fine in Krishna consciousness. Right. So, I just wanted to mention. Can you read that shloka? I don't have the screen now. I can't put it up. My computer is again gone off. Do you have that shloka that I read out? Anjana, can you read?
Maharaj, can you tell me sloka number, Maharaj?
I think it is shloka 10.
Chapter 14, Maharaj.
Chapter 14 is what we are doing today.
Okay. I have to read out the sloka, Maharaj.
You have to read out the translation to the shloka.
Okay. Sometimes the mode of goodness become prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance. O son of Bharata, sometimes and ignorance, and at other times ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy.
Okay, thank you, Anjana.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah. Next shloka, can you read, Mahalila?
Yes, Maharaj.
Sarvadvareshu dehesmin prakasha upajayate jnanam yada tada vidyad vivriddham sattvam uta.
The manifestation of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge.
Wow. Thank you. That's a great statement. All the 9 gates in the body are illuminated by knowledge. You know, you have 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nose, which itself makes 6, 1 mouth, 7, then genitals and anus, 8 and 9. Somebody will ask, what's a great knowledge that's going to come out of the anus? Illumination in the anus. You know, somebody can ask that question and make fun of you. But here it's mentioned in the purport that when every gate is illuminated by the symptoms of goodness, it should be understood that one has developed the mode of goodness. In the mode of goodness, one can see things in the right position, one can hear things in the right position, and one can taste things in the right position. One becomes cleansed inside and outside. In every gate, there is development of the symptoms of happiness, and that is the position of goodness. Isn't it very interesting? Lobha pravritirarambha karmanam asamha spriha rajasyetani jayante vivridhe bharatarishabha. Okay, who wants to read that?
Shall I share the screen?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Yeah, please
I will
read.
read, Maharaj.
Yes, please read, Chitra.
Hare Krishna. O chief of the Bharatas, when there is an increase in the mood of passion, the symptoms of the great attachment, fruitive activity, intense endeavor and uncomfortable desire and hankering develop. Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Yes, thank you. You can see, in this way, Krishna will describe the characteristics and the interplay of the modes. This is Rajoguna. When the mode, you see, there's a competition, he said, when the Rajoguna comes on top, you'll have great attachment, fruitive activity, intense endeavor, and uncontrollable desire and anchoring develop. You saw Hitler's clip. All this signifies what Hitler did. You have great attachment, very heavily attached to something material. And you desire to do any amount of work to get some fruit, right? So hankering, lamentation, all these things are part of Rajoguna. We can see all these things happening to us in our life. Aprakasho apravrittischa pramado moha evacha tamasyetani jayante vivridhe kuru nandana. When there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, O son of Kuru, darkness, inertia, madness, and illusion are manifested. This is the craziest of the illusion of the gunas. Darkness, inertia, madness, and illusion. See, this is what is the meaning of a lot of the people in this world. They go and intoxicate themselves. If you drink alcohol, if you smoke ganja, if you take amphetamines, if you take drugs, if you do all that, you're asking for tamoguna to come and affect you. So you have to be in tamogun to actually drink and enjoy that tamogun. People enjoy drinking, but actually what's happening to you is you become tamasic, your head becomes completely tamasic. Your nerves, this thing is affecting all the organs, the subtle body and everything so much. That gradually, if you keep doing that so much, you become permanently in tamoguna. Very dangerous. And a lot of the world of people just drink and smoke and do all these things. I was very horrified some time back to hear the statistics of how many students drink and smoke and take ganja, even in the hostels, and in women's colleges. And then it's coming to know higher classes in schools, in boarding schools and all that. That attraction for being in tamogun, drinking, smoking, hanging around and doing this and that, that is so unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. So it's mentioned here, when there is no illumination, knowledge is absent. Okay. One in the mode of ignorance does not work by regulative principle. He wants to act whimsically for no purpose. Even though he has the capacity to work, he makes no endeavor. This is called illusion. Although consciousness is going on, life is inactive. These are the symptoms of one in the mode of ignorance. It really takes some intelligence to understand what is being said here. It's not like what we think. Tamogun is very rampant in Kali Yuga. Everybody loves tamogun. These youngsters, many of them, they just drink and get completely rummaged. They don't know what they're doing to themselves, but by doing that repeatedly, they get addicted to tamogun. And they want to do it again and again. They have fallen down. In their horoscope, it may not be so bad, but they fall down due to bad association. And they take up all these things. In all these, universities and everything you see, because all the big people are doing it. And I hear very horrible things going on the campuses. Some of them who have worked for 2-3 years go and do their MBA in big institutions like Indian Institute of Management. They tell me, wow, don't think I am like this. It's so crazy. They live in the whole night. All the classes happen in the night. Crazy things happen in the night. The daytime, they fully sleep. They wake up in the evening at 6 o'clock and come to this thing. I said, why? They said, no, that's how it is. Even the professors come in the night and hold the program at classes in the night. When I was in Stanford for a program in US, we were going on until, 8 o'clock, they were asking questions, 9 o'clock, they were asking questions. I said, it's getting late. I said, what late? He said, what late? He said, classes happen only now here. Some professors have special classes at 12 o'clock in the night. I said, what? I said, of course. And then I came outside and saw people running in the night at 10 o'clock. They're jogging with their headphones and all that. I said, what's crazy people? I said, no, we are free to go to the library. 24 hours, everything is open. Some professors just feel that why don't we meet at 12 o'clock in the night? They all say, yeah. Because a guy gets drunk and then he goes to sleep at odd times and then he wakes up whenever he wants. Then he eats whenever he wants and he wants class whenever he wants. This is Tamogun, actually. Knowledge should be transferred early in the morning. It's the best time, Satvika Guna, especially knowledge to do with spiritual life and everything. Maybe material life, they can do it in the night with all this ignorant tamasic engineering and all that stuff. That's why the type of things that they do with the world is also so ugra karma, as it is mentioned by Krishna, tamasic, because they have been taught about it in the night at 12 o'clock. And their doing is also like that. Some people live their entire life like this. I saw some of my engineering, mates when I was studying engineering. Those guys are still like that. They're still drinking, smoking ganja and hanging around. Then I was thinking about, what a useless fellow. Throughout his life is doing that. And then I said, since then you've been doing? He said, yeah, I've been doing the same thing. You don't do anything. What do you do in the evenings? I just come and get drunk. They come and drunk. The wife and the kids are in some other place and he gets drunk and then they have a party. That's how they spend the time all the time. I was really feeling very sad. Then actually they called me for one of the alumni association meetings. And they said, please, Maharaja, please come there. They were telling me, teasing me. And I went actually and I distributed a Science of Self-Realization book free to all of them. And I gave a talk on, you guys better be careful with what you're doing with your life. And all their faces became very serious. And some of them came to me and said, I'm really stuck. I want to talk to you later. I said, why? I want to personally talk to you. At least 5, 6 of them emailed me and said, I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. And I did meet with many of them here and there. And they're all very desperate. So, who is that famous person? Henry David Thoreau, he said, most people in this world live lives of quiet desperation. They don't have somebody to talk to. They're deep in tamoguna. Don't just catch them and strangle them like that. They don't know what to do, what not to do. They think they know, but they don't know. They suffer. They suffer a lot, right? So that is mentioned here very clearly, that tamoguna is the worst of the gunas, and this is what you can expect from the tamoguna, right? So then there is death in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance, and all these things get classified here according to the modes. I would request you to read them as a homework, and the next week maybe we can make a comparison of these things. Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Any question or comments? Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Om Tat
Thank you,
Sat.
Maharaj.
See you next week.
Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.